What's going on, guys? This is a quick review of the Moondrop Blessing 2s. So, wanted to give these a try. These have 4 balanced armatures and 1 dynamic driver. So let's start off with the cable. The cable tangles up sometimes, but other than that, it's really light. Feels pretty nice, good quality, no issues with the cable. And then the build of this piece is really solid. I don't see it breaking anytime soon. And yeah, solid shell. You could even see all the workings. This is a dynamic driver, and then 4 BAs are just stacked up here. So yeah, that was a build, fit, and finish. For the fit, I would say I wish they were a little more comfortable. You do get some fatigue after a while because this piece is pretty huge over here. So yeah, even compared to like the variations, I would say this has a slightly more uncomfortable fit somehow, even though it's about the same size. Maybe I think it's because of the shell casing and because the variation is more rubberized. This one's like a harder shell, so maybe that has to do with the fit. But yeah, other than that, there's not much going on. There's a faceplate. And yeah, 2-pin cable. So let's talk about some sound impressions. So I'm going to start off with the bass. So the bass sounds pretty good on these. It is, for some reason, the bass on these is really forward. So it's really up in your face. So I wish there was a little more definition in the bass. And I wish it was a little more distant because this just feels like really up front. Yeah, so I was testing some songs out. The bass does go low, but again, I wish there was a little more detail between like the lowest of the lowest bass and when that shouldn't be there. So everything sounds a little congested in the bass. It doesn't sound like it's spread out well. So that's what I feel about the bass. There's not much to say about the bass because, yeah, there's no special characteristic I hear. Just sounds like dynamic driver. To explain things so that you guys understand it better, the driver quality of the bass driver in here seems about average because the Moondrop variation has just a better texture and feel in the bass. So this one sounds a little funny in that regard. Yeah, that one costs more, but I'm gonna explain why that shouldn't be the case towards the end of the video. Yeah, so the bass not super detailed. Just sounds about normal. There's nothing special going on in the bass. So yeah, onto the mid-range. The mids are pretty good on these again. Nothing special again. It sounds like it has some BA timbre going on, which really throws off the sound. Because when you hear some like S sounds in the vocals, it sounds like not realistic or real lifelike. So yeah, I don't know why it sounds like that. I was testing some really, really good master tracks on these also, and it sounded great on every single IEM, but this IEM, it's not super resolving in the mid-range. Like, the instruments seem smoothened out. It doesn't scale up when you play a better track, where you would get that with even cheaper IEMs. So yeah, the mid-range comes across as a little like dull, like lacking clarity. Yeah, so for the positioning of the mid-range, I do feel like it's pretty up front again. Basically, this has a really closed in sound where it's just like very closed in, like this. Where with other IEMs, you don't really get that effect. And yeah, so the mids, I wish there was a little more clarity, a little more realism to the mid range. It sounds really smooth for some reason, but not in a good way. Like, it sounds unengaging sometimes. Yeah, onto the treble. The treble's like pretty lacking because I don't hear much treble in like the upper frequencies. So I don't know why that's the issue. So I will point a few things out. I feel like I'm not sure if it's the tuning or the driver quality, but the driver quality seemed pretty cheap on these. Like they took a cheap route to mass produce it or whatever. It doesn't have any special qualities. It just doesn't sound like a lifelike sound. So yeah, so I'm gonna talk about the soundstage and imaging now. These are very narrow, like in your head, like this far. This causes all the details to get really mushied up, and I can't really place instruments on these. Like I can't really on busy tracks. I don't know what sound is coming from where. It just sounds like a ball of sound. Like so, yeah. Resolution wise, it's pretty bad in that regard. Yeah. I mean, if you're this is like $300, so I'm not sure why that's the issue. Like the upper treble is not there. It just sounds like the bass is there with the mid range, and the mid range is smooth, and the bass is about normal. Like everything just sounds too close to your ear and closed in. So when you're listening to a busy track where there's a lot of stuff going on, it just sounds like it's happening here, like not spread out or. So basically, the positional cues on this IEM is pretty bad for some reason. What else do I have left? So I'm gonna do some comparisons. So I would not. I'm just gonna say this: you should not spend more than $300 on this because it's not worth that price. This sounds like about maybe like a $250 earphone. But yeah, it's not like something you should pay regular price for. So yeah, I might just give this away because I'm not sure what the point of this IEM was. It doesn't sound like fun, and it doesn't sound reference. So I don't know what the point is. Kind of a weird IEM in my opinion. So yeah, I'm gonna do some comparisons. So this is the C Audio Yume I have. And again, this just sounds way more lifelike. The soundstage and imaging, surprisingly, it's not that much better on the Blessing 2s. Like, it's maybe 5% better, but maybe not. Like, this sounds like it has the same amount of detail and resolution. I mean, this costs double, so I wouldn't be surprised if it had slightly more detail, but it doesn't make much sense to me because, yeah. So this one just sounds more lifelike. The treble's there during the right times. There's no frequency missing. Where this one, the treble frequencies are missing. The bass definition is about average. The mids are very smoothened out to the point where there's no clarity, basically. Where for this is less than half the price, but you're not missing any frequencies. Yeah, so all the frequencies are there. The bass is surprisingly better on these, the C Audio Yume. It just has a better sub bass, and I don't know about definition, they're about the same, but this has a better control in the bass somehow. So yeah, that's absolutely crazy because it costs half the price. And then here's the ER4SR. So if you basically buy these two, they cost the same price as these. And these two will take care of you much better than this IEM. So yeah, the ER4SR, again, it just has a better imaging and soundstage. I could pick apart where everything is in the mix and the mistakes there are. Or with these, you can't really pick it up because there's not much resolution. It's like a 3-blob soundstage, and yeah, so there's no good center imaging or right-left. It just sounds like a blob of sound, which is kind of weird. But yeah, the ER4SR, you don't have that issue. Everything has its spot, and you could pick it up pretty easily. So I would say the ER4SR has a way better resolution than the Blessing 2s, and it just sounds more lifelike and tonally accurate. This one, the Blessing 2, the treble is pretty dark. Paired with the smooth mid-range, it just doesn't sound that good. Yeah, so shockingly, the C Audio Yume sounds more lifelike in the bass, mids, and treble than the Moondrop Blessing 2, where this sounds overly smooth, rolled off treble. The bass is on par with the C Audio Yume. So yeah, I would say get these two and skip on that, because with this you'll have a way better sound. So if you do get these two, you'll have the best clarity you can get for the price, basically. And then this one will be maybe slightly less detailed, but way more lifelike sounding. So this one doesn't sound fun. It doesn't sound lifelike. I don't understand the point of this IEM. The Moondrop Blessing 2s. Because, yeah, they don't really fill anything in for what someone's looking for. So, yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I'm kind of disappointed in it, but I got it for a good deal, so whatever. I'm just going to pass it on to someone, whoever wants it. So, yeah, hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know.